Hey guys, this is Desmond. It's about 4 a.m. but I have no school tomorrow, so yeah, doing another video. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Fabled Archetype, and I decided this video most naturally breaks itself down into two main parts, and that are the Fable that already exists, which I kind of have laid out down here, and you'll see in a second, and the Fable that are going to come out. So the Fable that are not yet out, you will see in a more laid out format, kind of like my Storm of Ragnarok discussion, if you watched that. And the Fable that already exist, I have them all here, and I'll show you physical copies of the cards. So go ahead and watch this. We're going to talk about the Fabled Archetype, which is something that I've been very interested in lately, and where it's going, where it may not be going, what cards are useful, what cards aren't useful, and then like what kinds of different builds for Fabled there are. This isn't really gonna, I'm not really going to talk about Fabled Dark Mode because that's kind of overplayed. I want to talk about more pure Fabled builds. So let's get straight to it. Okay. Oh, here you can see I got my blanket because it's kind of cold. Right now we have 3 synchro monsters. And we have Fabled Reagan, and he's a 5-star synchro monster. And his effect is, whenever you summon this guy, if you have less than 2 cards in your hand, then you draw until you have 2 cards. So if you have 1 card, you draw 1. If you have none, you draw 2. And any more than that, you don't get to draw. But he's used in pretty much all Fabled builds, but a specific build called Reagan Turbo will run 3 of him, and it pretty much just centers around synchroing for this guy, and sometimes even throwing him back if you're running a very specific kind of it with compulsories, and syncing him again, and you just draw and draw and draw, and it works pretty well. That's not exactly what I play. I just play Fabled, just straight up Fabled, but that's what this guy's used for. There's Fabled Valkyrus. He's a level 8, 2900 attack, 1700 defense, so he's not really very strong in the defense area, but he's got some nice attack. And, oh, by the way, I really want these kids in dual terminal. All of my Fabled synchros and pretty much anything you see I don't have in dual terminal, I want it. His effect is you can discard 1 fiend to draw 1 card. And he's used, usually any Fabled deck will have at least 1 of them, but Fabled Dark World, which is I'm not going to talk too much about, but at least hit on this, will run this guy, and they'll discard their Dark World monsters with him, and they'll draw 1 and get their effects. Like, for example, they'll ditch Brow, draw 1 because they ditch with Valkyrus, and draw 1 because they ditch Brow. Or something along those lines, depending on what they ditch. And then lastly, we have Fabled Leviathan. This guy is a bitch. And the loop that I showed you in my original Fabled deck video does not work as directly as I thought it did, but it still is doable, and I'll explain it again later. It just, there's a couple middle steps that I didn't explain to you guys. He's a level 10, 3000 meter. I don't think you can see that. With 2000 defense. And what's special about this guy is when he is destroyed, you get to take 3 Fabled monsters from your graveyard and put them back in your hand. So usually once you got him out, you got the things you need to get him back in your graveyard. So you can actually get all the things you need to sync for him again every time he dies, unless he's removed, because he has to be sent to the graveyard for his effect to go through. Moving on to actual main deck monsters, let's talk about our tuners. We've got 5 actually. I don't have any copies of the baby one. I'm having a brain freeze. Give me a second. I think it's Ultro. Is it Ultro? Yeah, it's Ultro. Ultro is a level 1 tuner, which I regrettably do not have. And his effect is once per turn you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon 1 level 3 Fabled monster from your hand. So you can see how he might be used in Reagan Turbo, because obviously 2 and 3 makes 5. The 4 I have are probably the 4 ones that you'll actually see. We've got Miss Toji. Now, I don't play him, but I think he's pretty cool. And his effect, he's a level 2 tuner, but also you can discard, you can send distinguishable from discard, okay guys? When it says send, it's not treated as a discard. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to change any fabled monster on your side of the field into a tuner. So basically, this guy can be used as a tuner in and of his own nature, and he can be making other things into tuners. You got Raven. You guys have all seen what Raven can do. You can ditch any number of cards once per turn to increase his level by the number of cards you discarded. Kushano, you can discard one card, that one Fabled monster, from your hand to your graveyard, except for another Kushano, to get this card back to your hand. So he's very recyclable. And then Fabled Ruby Ruda, which allows you to discard any Fabled monster to negate an attack that targets him. And if you guys haven't noticed, we've got 2, 3, and 4 tuners already. And then here's our kind of like revive and search power. We got the Fabled Dife, which I'm not running one of, but I am considering. And his effect is when a Fabled monster is sent from your hand to the graveyard, so that's a send or a discard because a discard is considered a type of send, you contribute this guy to special summon that card. So like you can get your stuff that you send with Sulkius or Ashenvale with this. Sulkius, speaking of, he's a 6-star 2200 attack monster who can be special summoned from your grave by sending 2 cards from your hand to the grave. And that's really good. You don't get discard effects from him, but you can still use him for sinking a lot. And what I was going to show you guys is, if you have the cards you need and you need their discard effects, you can discard them for Kushanos to your hand and get their the discard effect of whatever you discarded. Blah. I'm sorry, I sound like freaking retarded. And then you discard the Kushanos for your Sulkius. So that's kind of your middle step in your Fabled Leviathan loop that I showed you guys earlier. Speaking of which, Fabled Leviathan. Not Levithon, not Levithan, Leviathan. Okay, guys? Get it right. It's not that hard. And then you have Cruz. When this kid is discarded, you can special summon any level 4 or lower Fabled monster from your graveyard. And Grimrow. You can discard her if you have a Fabled monster on the field to search for any other Fabled monster in your deck. So here's where all your search power is. And then just kind of miscellaneous things. We've got Lurie, who summons himself when he's discarded. And he'll be replaced with Surubel when Hidden Arsenal 4 comes out, because Surubel is a level 2 tuner who does the same thing. No, it's Cerberel, not Surubel. Fabled Galabus. You can discard one card to destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls with less attack than this card, with less defense than this card has attack. This card has 15 attack to start with, so you can discard a card to destroy any monster with 15 or less attack. I might be replacing my Ashenvales with these. I'm not sure right now. We'll talk about that later. And then Ashenvale. This card, when this card enters battle, is attacked, you can discard one card to increase. No, this guy's a send. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard to increase his attack to 22. That's by 600. It says by 600. Then here's kind of 2 random ones I haven't seen anyone run. I think Topi has maybe some value. I don't see Arostos getting much play. Arostos. When you have 2 cards or less in your graveyard, all face-up Fabled monsters gain 400 attack. No, 2 cards or less in your hand, not your graveyard. So he's a little bit better, but I mean, still not that exciting. And then Topi. If your opponent has 2 or more cards in their hand, then you do. So they've got 2 or more cards in their hand than you do. So you got 4, they got to have at least 6. You can reveal one Fabled monster in your hand and tribute this face-up card to select 2 spell or trap cards your opponent controls and destroy them. So this card might see some play, maybe when the Fabled deck has just a little tiny bit more hand control. It already has a lot. It's just, there's so much more you can play that's more useful. And then I want to talk about spells and traps that specifically benefit Fabled. You got their Beckoning Light, which you discard your hand and then you take back from the graveyard to your hand up to any number of light monsters up to the number of cards you discarded. Karma Cut, you guys should probably know what it does, but if you don't, you can discard one card to remove from play one monster card face up, and then any cards with the same name in your opponent's graveyard are also removed from play. Dark Core, discard one to remove from play one monster. So it's kind of like, I guess it's a little bit worse than Karma Cut, but it's a spell, so you can play it right away. Dark World Dealings. Both players will draw one card, and then both players discard one card. So you can see how that might be useful. Foolish Burial. Send your Kashanos and your Sulkiuses to your grave where they're useful. Hand Destruction. I shouldn't have to explain this. And Monster Reincarnation. As long as you have a valid target before you activate this card, you can send Cruz from your hand to the graveyard, get the revive with Cruz, and then pick Cruz back up with the Monster Reincarnation. So this is really, really awesome. Okay, and that's pretty much all for the existing Fable. And then cards you might want to check out. You got your Plague Spreader, Rykos, just lots of simple things like that. I want to see Noble Mana Crossout played more this format. Pot of Avarice. And I don't think there's anything else I left you guys out on. I guess you could use Necrogarden if you really wanted to, but there's a lot you can use instead. And I think that pretty much covers it. And then, I know I said I wasn't going to, but Dark World Monsters, those are, it's not a bad deck. I ran the Dark World deck for a while. I liked it. I just like Fabled a lot better of its own virtue, like by itself. And that's it for this video. If you're still interested, I'm going to be posting a video. I'm going to be making another video about the new Fableds that will be coming out in Dual Terminal 4. And keep in mind that none of those cards are going to be legal until Hidden Arsenal 4 comes out. So I'm not really sure what Dual Terminal 4's American release date is yet, but I'm pretty sure Hidden Arsenal 4 we're looking at around July. So all the cards I'm talking about, it's going to be a while down the road before they're legal. But they'll really change this deck and make it a lot better. So I'm going to get back to you guys on that. Thanks for watching this video. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Tell me if you have Dual Terminal Fable monsters, especially the Synchros and Grimro. I guess I kind of like Kashanos too. Basically, like, I didn't really used to like it, but I've really, really started to like the Dual Terminal rarity. So, let me know. And thanks for watching. Bye.